Thanks for tuning into the Conscious Hour. This is a little educational piece on being Muslim. What does it really mean, and who are these people? They get condemned by the West like they're terrorists or something. But, in the West, we make all sorts of things up. Here we go.
Tari, as a scholar of North American studies and of US-Iran relations, talk a little bit more about your analysis of why Iran is viewed with such hostility in the United States and the so-called West more generally. And what do you think the most important thing is for people in the West to know right now that they're not being told by their leaders and by Western media, which is, just the polar opposite of the kind of leadership and honesty and honor that you were just describing in Iranian society?
This is the Conscious Hour, and this is exactly what I do at the Conscious Hour. I bring forward truths and education so people can let go of their biases. Please support the Conscious Hour. It's your Conscious Hour. Now let's go in and do a really wonderful reality check.
Well, the United States hostility towards Iran started well before the Islamic Republic. In 1953, when the CIA orchestrated a coup against Dr. Mossadegh, who was our first prime minister, democratically elected. And by the way, he was not religious; he was secular, you can say, and he was not chanting death to America. He was not talking about Israel at all. He just wanted to nationalize Iran's oil. And he was toppled by the CIA through a military coup against his government. And that's when also the U.S. started sanctioning Iran. They installed a dictatorship, the Pahlavi dictatorship, and the Savak worked with Mossad to torture Iranian dissidents. And once we had the revolution in 1979, a popular revolution, and then a referendum where more than 98% of the population voted yes to the Islamic Republic, we started establishing a model, probably for the first time in the region, against the imperialist powers. We said no to...
Imagine that 98% of the voters agreed. That's the power of people. That's what democracy is supposed to be about. But, we call these Iranians terrorists.
The imperialism, and we cut the hands of the United States from our country. We gained control over our natural resources. And Iran started setting an example for the entire world that it is possible. As a country, when we came out of the revolution, we did not really have anything. And they staged a war through Saddam against us. And we still did not lose even an inch of our territories. And all of that, for 47 years, they've been imposing sanctions and everything. They have been trying to bring us to our knees so that they can gain control over Iran, over its resources, over its politics and everything. And they have not been able. So because they have failed.
And that's why I came up with the name for current day, gangster capitalism. And who do they have in charge? Donald Trump. He was going to finish the mission. Remember, don't forget that our wonderful past president, Joe Biden, in 1972 said, I should have been born a Zionist. You see, the duopoly are the same machine that's killing the world literally right now because of greed.
In doing so, despite all the sanctions and aggression, now what they are trying to do is forming this narrative of demonizing an entire nation and dehumanizing us in order to justify even more aggression and a war. The narrative always portrays Iran as, sponsor of terrorism or state sponsor of terrorism, or these fanatics and lunatics, which is very hilarious to me coming from the lunatics that are running the White House, and we know about them. We're basically fighting against a regime of Epstein pedophiles and Rothschild bankers that have been stealing and looting other nations' resources and money. And Iran sets a very, very dangerous example for the entire world, because we're telling.
That's a wake-up call for everybody that doesn't like our banking system and doesn't like the predatory lending and how they enslave everybody. What do you think? Let's keep listening.
The entire world that it is possible for a nation to stand against imperialism, even if they put sanctions on you, even if they isolate you. And for many years, the propaganda has worked. I mean, the Western audience had no other channel of information to know what exactly is happening in Iran than the Western mainstream media. But now with alternative media and social media, even though they're manipulating the algorithms and everything, the truth is coming out. You're seeing that a lot of people in the world are cheering on Iranian missiles hitting Tel Aviv and other occupied territories, because they know who is the other side that Iran is fighting. So for the Western audience, I would say, do not fall for this, and they usually, because have this Orientalist framing of what's happening inside Iran, especially when it comes to cultural things. Like, they're so obsessed about whether women are wearing a special form of hat. This is like not very different. I mean, people are choosing to wear this, and some people don't. And you can see on the streets that there are a lot of women who don't want to wear it, and they're not wearing it. But they use these cultural differences because it makes it very easy to otherize an entire nation. And they are trying to say that it was the 1979 revolution that forced Islam on this population, when in fact, we have been Muslim for more than 1,000 years. Nobody imposed Islam on us. Iranians have been Muslim for more than 1,000 years. I mean,
There's
this
a wake-up call,
cultural
folks.
heritage sites that we're talking about have been attacked, were built by Muslim rulers, and they have very beautiful and magnificent Islamic arts. What does that tell you about this place? But these are all erased from the narrative, because they want you to think that there's no legitimacy.
So they're wiping out all the cultural sites. That's why they do it. They want to erase history. This is how evil the zebras are. They want to erase history so they can keep control. Well, they're losing and the world's shifting, and we're going to end up on the right side of the equation eventually, hopefully quickly, before they blow the world up. But that's another story.
In the government that has been actually elected by these people. And of course, it's far from perfection, like any government in the entire world. But people have their agency. They're trying to bring about changes and improvements in their country, and they have been trying to resist imperialism. And we have learned that the reason that we're under attack is that we have been able to fight imperialism, and all their plots have been, they have failed in all the plots that they have had. And the last thing that they have resorted to is this war that we're seeing, which we see as an existential war, but for the US, it's a war of choice. And they're taking their last chances at bringing down the Islamic Republic of Iran as a nation, and to balkanize the country and create perpetual chaos in the region so that they can loot our resources. And they will do.
That's exactly what they're doing. Thanks for tuning into the Conscious Hour. Speak out, folks. We have no right to go into a foreign country and steal their resources. We don't want to put our military kids in the way of a monopoly machine on steroids run by the zebras over there. This whole thing was created. And you know, that man, Netanyahu, he showed the world who he was. Yeah. And the Greater Israel Project, they want to take the entire coastline. They want to build a Viva Las Vegas. They got Jared Kushner for the banking part, $40 billion there. If they build all the way up the coastline where Palestine and all the way into Lebanon, you got another total. They said at one time it was $400 billion. And they say that these Muslim people are the enemy. Nah, we know who the enemy is. It's within us. It's the Conscious Hour. Thanks for tuning in. Turn on, share this with everyone you can, and hit the like button, because the algorithm isn't picking up my feeds. Go to the YouTube library, go to the TikTok library, get educated. There's over 550 videos that does the same thing. Bring the truth forward. Thanks for tuning in to the Conscious Hour. Please donate to the 501c3.